You can't even make this shit up. I left this ladder in here overnight, and the plumbers came in this morning. And now I can't get my ladder out. Look at this guy.
No way. Guys, I think I drove a little too far. Whoa. You'd think buying a brand new home in 2026 would mean fewer problems, right? But somehow it's the exact opposite. From poor construction to cheap materials and rushed builds, more and more people are moving into new homes that start falling apart almost immediately. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what's going on and what it actually means for homeowners today. As usual, I'll be reading some of your comments in today's video, so if you want to be featured in the next one, definitely make sure to leave your thoughts down below. So guys, before we get into today's episode, I do have a couple of super quick announcements. I have officially moved from Florida to Charlotte, North Carolina. South Charlotte's closer to Fort Mill, Indian Land, Ballantyne, that sort of area here. Believe it or not, the past 2 weeks of videos have been pre-recorded like a month in advance, and I hired an editor to help me do that because I have had to unpack and unbox and pack up stuff and rent a Penske truck and drive across the country from, Fort Myers all the way to the Carolinas, a 10.5-hour drive. Oh, it was supposed to be that long. There were a couple of unforeseen crazy events, which I'll tell you guys about later on in today's video, as well as tips and tricks if you plan on moving. If you want to do this yourself, I have a few ways you can save a ton of cash here. So that's the update number one. And lastly, the second update, I did just start a Spotify as well as an Apple podcast. I don't know, maybe some of you guys have seen it. It's already starting to pick up some traction, but it would really mean a lot to me if you guys would go check it out and subscribe or follow it. It's completely free. I'll leave the links down in the description below, but it would really mean a lot to me just to see that you guys are interested in this stuff. Obviously, videos get aired on YouTube first, but with that out of the way, let's get right into today's new home insanity video because it hasn't gotten any better in 2026. Oh boy, that's great. 2.7 million new construction home.
Stairway handrail. Everything looks good. It's secured. Whoops. Somebody forgot to install a bracket.
It's so lazy to me. $425,000 final inspection and golf ball testing. I'm pretty sure the water is supposed to drain down.
Top of the stairway, the carpet's a little loose.
Oh,
I'm checking receptacles, making sure
little
they're
loose.
GFCI protected. This one does not appear to be.
Vertical sub panel, I'm testing breakers for GFCI protection to make sure they trip. We have 2 that don't. Number 24 and number 26. That's the dishwasher and the microwave. Screens here for the ducts. This one
doesn't line up.
doesn't even line up, so it'll be blowing most of the air behind the brick.
Humid air.
And they're all being held on with silicone and little fake screws.
Talk about a lazy freaking job, these builders here. The fact that he was able to pull all the screws out, that they're just there for cosmetic, the fact he pulled it out, not screwed in, held in with silicone, is diabolical. How does he even figure out what to check there? I give these home inspectors a lot of credit because a lot of these things I don't think I would even be able to catch. But for those out there that are, builders, work in construction in that field for work, I'm curious, how would you address or fix some of these issues here? I think the one that comes to mind is that that water drain in the bathroom. Like, that tile wasn't sloped to drain the water into the drain. So water's going to pool there. How do you fix that? Do you have to rip it all up and redo it again? Like, is it not a simple fix? I can understand why, a builder would want to let that slide because it's probably a lot of work to correct some of these problems here. Anyway, I wanted to read a couple of comments from that TikTok because I thought they were insane. A $2.7 million house, new construction, 2026. And even the stair thing, they're so lazy. They didn't, put that down first and they just left it there. Being an inspector is the kind of petty work I should be doing. Yeah, it's finding these they're pretty obvious. Like, the problems that are there are pretty obvious, and it's like, nope, fix it, fix it, fix it. And I would expect no less. I mean, if I'm going to spend and shell out millions of dollars on a house, why should I feel guilty about hiring an inspector to find the problems with what you built? Pure American quality. See, that is quite the comment too, because I've read a couple of your comments in previous new construction insanity episodes, which I highly recommend you check out if you haven't already. This isn't the first one. It's part of a series. And a lot of you guys are saying this is just poor build quality in the US, that in other countries, I even had somebody DM me last night saying that if somebody ever did this in their country, they'd like be jailed, trying to slide this stuff by. The broken lock is lawsuit worthy. Imagine what you can't see. See, that's a big one too. This is all stuff you can see. What's there behind the walls? You're not ripping them up. Ain't no way. For sale. Someone go look up that house price. Oh my. I don't know what's worse. The fact that I probably couldn't fit through the side of in between the houses there on the side, that they were built that close together, or the fact that the telephone pole or the electrical pole has the anchors going directly in front of your garage, your driveway. You can no longer drive in. Like, these people now will just slap, these home builders are just slapping up houses anywhere they possibly can, and they don't care. Somebody commented on a previous new construction video on our channel, and if you guys want to get featured in the next episode, definitely make sure to drop a comment down below. Craftsmanship. Craftsmanship. That's what that is. It's just pure laziness. I really want to know what was there first. Was like the house built first and then they built around that? Or did they randomly decide to put up a telephone pole conveniently right after this brand new house was built? Like it just doesn't make sense. That's too obvious for that to just happen on its own, because the concrete, it almost looked like they poured the concrete around the pole where it's anchored into the floor. Unreal. Guys, I think I drove a little too far. Whoa. So I'm in the process of looking for a house myself. As you guys know, renting is not a forever plan. It is definitely useful, and I don't bash renting. I think renting is great if you do it properly. However, it gets to a point where, owning a home is a good idea. Where you can take back control for the most part, less governing bodies, bossing you around and stuff like that. And that's why I pretty much moved from Florida, Fort Myers, Florida, to the South Charlotte area in North Carolina for weather, mainly for housing. It's the next step after renting, and I just am not a huge fan of the house style and just the massive, extremely overpriced HOAs and stuff like that in my area where I was looking at. And I found it to be a lot more comforting in this area. It reminds me of Long Island, where I grew up, in this South Charlotte area here. But now I'm starting to look for houses. And I have seen a couple of those places being built in the area here, a little further out. And it is so dystopian. To not see any trees anywhere on the sidewalk, to me, is really creepy. I like, that's something out of the Cat in the Hat, and something about it just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm curious if you guys feel the same way about these newer communities and these newer suburbs being built, because I kind of like trees. I kind of like not directly seeing your neighbor and having some nature. POV, you're furniture shopping at American Furniture Warehouse.
Okay. And do the
Ain't no way. I'm sure they don't assemble. See, it doesn't just stop with homes. It's apartments, it's new cars. We've made episodes in the past on how new cars are absolutely horrible, built to fail, made to break, meant to be disposable with all the plastic they're shoving in it. If you haven't seen those episodes, highly recommend you check it out. But it's the furniture too. It's appliances. It's every single thing now moving forward since like 2020, 2021. I mean, just year after year, they're finding ways to make the cheapest, most inferior quality stuff and then selling it to you for top dollar, no warranty, and your SOL. It really is a shame. And the fact that you could buy a house and this is the quality you're probably getting behind the walls, I'd be very curious to see if your 2026 new home is still standing in 10 years. I miss when furniture was so sturdy that you couldn't hardly move it. And that was a big tip my parents gave me back in the day, was like, if you're moving, and I just did it recently, if you're moving, don't buy heavy Amish hardwood solid furniture because you are going to regret it when it comes time to move. Fortunately for me, all my stuff is IKEA and Facebook Marketplace. So when it came to moving stuff, the bed frame, the dressers, 10 minutes in, I unscrewed everything. It was all apart in pieces, threw it in the truck, and I was on my way.
Missing a door stopper.
$800,000.
Or horizontal. Again, looks like a letter to children.
Whoa.
If I don't physically stand on your cabinets, you're not getting the top-notch experience. You're not getting the Inspector Night experience. This is damaged, this is damaged, and this is damaged. And this one ain't got a light.
You never would have seen that. Oh, he's got the little pointer out. What am I missing? No shower?
So we have no weep holes above the doorway brick lintels as well as the window brick lintels.
The sink's faucet is loose at the countertop.
Oh, nice.
You already know. Needs to be fixed. Windows that are installed less than 24 inches of the door.
Is this the same video? His voice changed, and I think he changed skin color too, halfway through, because it still says $818,000 house.
Required to have safety glass. A good way to tell is you will find an etching in one of the corners, but not on this one.
This is loose.
Oh, it's definitely two different people.
A foam-sealed attic with no ventilation source. At least it's not a beer this time. This is coming loose. There's literal ice on the roof. Can't walk today.
So, my question for you guys, what year is a house I should be looking for? What year did things start to go downhill? And what years were houses built to last, to withstand the test of time? When I was 15 years old, I helped my mom to roof the house, and I just followed the instructions on the roofing packages and behind the shingles. The roof didn't leak for 25 years. A 15-year-old with no experience managed it by just following instructions. I've been told this from a couple of people that, putting a roof on a house is not as hard as it seems. I guess there's a scare factor to it and, a safety measure, a safety factor to it. But otherwise, it might be pretty straightforward, especially if a 15-year-old kid and his mom were able to redo the roof of their house. That's actually really impressive. Now, I'm sure some of you guys might be curious as to how my trip went, my move across states here, because I kind of left you on a cliffhanger in the intro. And before I tell you that, I was reading a couple of your comments, and some of you guys were saying that you thought you were subscribed to the channel when you weren't. So just take a second and check down below to make sure that you are actually subscribed to the channel. I think the YouTube algorithm is changing, and you might see my videos on your homepage, but that doesn't actually mean you're subscribed to the channel like it used to be back in the old days. But back to my story, the drive was around 10 and a half hours, although maybe it should have been 10 and a half hours. We broke it into a 2-day trip. We stayed at a hotel one night in Savannah, Georgia, but on the way leaving Fort Myers, Florida, we got caught in a crazy traffic I-4 shutdown for 3+ hours. I had to turn my 26-foot Penske trailer around, do a U-turn on the exit ramp of the highway. The police made me do it to exit off of it because of the shutdown, and they didn't know how long it was. So that delayed the trip. Craziest thing I've ever seen. I was that close to seeing this crazy shutdown that they did. And then the second day, the Penske truck grenaded itself on the side of the freeway. I had about 4 hours left in my drive, and the accessory belt shredded itself. The water pump, the bearing failed, froze, which shredded the belt and actually sheared the pulley off the water pump itself. I had to have the truck towed all the way to my new apartment complex, and that turned a 4.5-hour trip into about 7.5 hours. All in all, Penske did a really good job. I highly recommend them over U-Haul, which I'll tell you a little more about later, but I've just heard Penske is much better, and their customer service was fantastic. They did a great job there. They handled the situation really well, although I wish it never happened in the first place. But yeah, absolutely insane. Managed to get here, unloaded the truck, and then they took the truck away. And I'm going to give you guys a tip on how to save a tremendous amount of money if you are moving apartments or homes and you plan on renting a truck and doing it yourself. I'll tell you what I did that saved me thousands of dollars later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. The new trailer parks of America.
What's that?
I don't know why they do it.
What's that, brother?
See, these are what the new, communities and suburbs are looking like. And I've seen several of these that were built in maybe 2010, 2015 in the area where I moved to here in Charlotte. And it just doesn't do it for me. The fact that, you can see all the houses lined up, you can see your neighbors so close, it doesn't sit right. I don't know why. I like the older neighborhoods. I like the older suburbs with mature, full-grown trees, that really blend the whole block together. And I don't think if you leave these communities for 20 years, that's what they're going to look like. They're definitely doing something different here. The fact that they shave down everything, plow the land, leave no trees up whatsoever, I don't know why they do it. Is it cheaper? Is it for insurance reasons? I have no idea, but it really doesn't look all that appealing to me.
Look at this gut.
No way. Is that how we install windows now? Is it just a free-for-all, do whatever you want? They're going to cover it up anyway, so it really doesn't matter? Is this the way we secure and seal windows? He could stick his hand out and he, was 20 stories up. It really just, to me, screams I'm taking shortcuts on this stuff, and this is probably going to be a condo or an apartment. Don't even get me started with new luxury apartments. That's been the biggest scam in the book. Just throwing around that word for every single apartment complex, and it's far from it here. I've made a video on that, exposing that BS that these new apartment complexes are doing. Building held together by whipped cream. I'm no expert, but that don't seem right. The shitty construction techniques of today. Oh, there you go. Luxury unit, $3,000 a month. Oh, hell no. I'm no countertop installer, but does this look right to you?
Something fucking closet brackets, bro.
Closet brackets?
Hell no.
Oh, you really have to check everything in these new construction homes. That one looked like a beautiful luxury home being built, probably in the millions, a floating countertop there, but they use closet brackets to hold up granite or marble or whatever that was. It's really getting ridiculous here, the corners that are being cut. The day I found out that only 1 in 10 builders actually had a license was an eye-opener for me. Even if they don't, somebody needs to be held responsible. The only part that really pisses me off is that if it's not caught, it all falls onto you, the homeowner. The only person that really gets screwed out of this whole thing is the homeowner. Is us, the consumer, the customer here. Nobody else gets held accountable.
Gotta love it when you're just about to start a new build inspection and the neighbor across the street opens his door, comes over, and he says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm doing a home inspection on this new build." "But what are you inspecting? It's new." He said, "I didn't even bother with the home inspection. What could you possibly find wrong?"
Right?
What the? Looks like they ran out of mortar at this expansion joint. They got the first 2 feet nice and sealed up, and then it's just a gap with foam installed.
Foam? Nice filler. It's not even screwed down.
Nothing to see here, nothing to see here, nothing to see here.
What is
What
that?
the? Well, we definitely don't see something like this every day. Looks
that
like
broken?
one of these engineered truss members was damaged. I'm thinking during install, maybe. You see how it's split?
We got Bluetooth beams holding up the roof of the house. 2026 new quality.
Here. So what they did was they took a 2x4 and they nailed it.
Unreal.
It runs all the way down to about here. And there's like probably like 6 or 7 nails here connected to that 2x4.
Can you imagine?
But they never sandwiched it in between these plates. See the 1-inch gap there? See how all these ones are in between those plates? None of these are broken. But this is something we are going to question because this doesn't look like a proper repair here. The best way to see if this sink is properly sealed is to turn water on.
Oh, that's interesting.
And actually spray it along the seam where the countertop meets the sink. And then look underneath.
Look at all that water.
Uh-oh. Well, why is the dishwasher not plugged in? Oh, it's a little wet now. That should be okay. Whoa!
Huh?
Wow. I don't know where that water came from. Okay, now that it's plugged in, let's fire up this dishwasher and start. Close. Oh. Okay. And start. Close. It is closed. Hitting the lights
Broken.
in the garage, and we can see they installed an opening for the spiders and the snakes.
It really is unreal at this point. And the fact that he started the video basically saying that the neighbor was like, why do you need a home inspector? Why would I pay the extra $600-700 to get my new home inspected? There's nothing wrong with it. It's brand new. There's a builder's warranty on it, which they'll fight you tooth and nail for. We know how warranties are in 2026. They give you a hard time with cars, let alone a house that's worth $500,000. It's probably going to be much harder. But I hear the same stuff with brand new cars that, oh, there's no reason to do your research because it's brand new. Everything's fine. What could possibly go wrong with a brand new car? And then I hear countless stories of people getting, shooting themselves in the foot when these cars catastrophically fail, have tons of issues here, and end up having to go to the dealer. And half the time, sometimes, it doesn't even get warrantied out. Is that the window that the guy sprayed foam insulation in? Shattered right now? There's no way. There's no way. Congratulations, you now own the building. The fact that, imagine if she got hurt sitting right there by the couch and, a shard of glass fell on her 20 stories up. Access to that window, that's insane. I used to work at a window company in high windy cities. They must install a grade of glass that can withstand such conditions. If they don't, this is what happens. I would contact the city or county that issues the permits for installing those windows to find out the required grade. Then I would have a city inspector come and confirm the grade. It's not up to code. They can face legal consequences, and you may have a lawsuit. What I'm starting to learn is a lot of the things being built today are basically waiting for it to fail before they fix a problem. They'd rather put out junk and wait for people to complain and then address it than fix it from the beginning, spend the money, the R&R, whatever it is, to make it right at first. They'd rather send it out, give you a hard time. You know how many people would just let it go? If something broke, they call customer service, there's an hour-long wait, they'll just let it go. They'll just add friction to the process, and most people won't even bother with it. That's the problem we're having now.
Man, these houses are on Ozempic, man. Look at that.
What is
Ozempic
this?
Houses?
Ozempic Houses. Basically a very expensive Home Depot shed. I can't imagine. Like, this is what they're building nowadays. I don't understand why it needs to be built like that. And I can understand living in a tiny home. I got nothing wrong with tiny homes. I have no issues with it. But it's nice if you have like a nice amount of land to accompany it. Then it kind of makes sense here. You know, minimalism, something like that. This, to me, just feels like, how can we maximize profits, exploit and squeeze as much money from the everyday mom and pop, you know, a 9-to-5er as we possibly can. Give them the least amount of meat on that bone. You know what I'm saying? It really is a shame. So I want to let you guys in on a quick tip that could save you thousands of dollars if you ever are in the market to rent a U-Haul or Penske or moving truck. I had originally called Pods, super expensive, didn't want to deal with them. Then I called U-Haul. And then I called Penske. Now, I was originally quoted online when I did the online reservation. The price came out to $800. And I said, great, I'll book it next week. Well, the next week came, I typed it in, and I thought there was an error because last week it was $800. Now U-Haul is showing up for $3,200 for the same truck. Penske, $4,000, which was once $800 a week before. How could something go up 5x in a week? Blows my mind. February 20th or 24th or something like that, I checked. That was the price. March 1st, the price exploded. I called around and I called Penske, and believe it or not, Penske told me that they guarantee the truck. U-Haul doesn't. I didn't know that was a thing here. U-Haul only guarantees you the price of that truck, but they don't guarantee you that the truck is there at that location. You might have to go drive around and pick it up, or they'll say sorry. They'll let you know the day before. Penske guarantees you that truck with a free reservation that you make. But after doing a little bit of negotiating on the phone, talking to both sides, I got the price down from $4,000 of Penske to $1,200 just by talking to them. I had AAA, so they gave me a big discount, and just telling them what U-Haul was quoting me and stuff like that, price dropped tremendously as well. I then said, well, it's cheaper to drive to Georgia, which was the closest state to South Carolina, to Charlotte, and they dropped the rate down even more because it was a shorter distance here. And then after I booked the reservation, I called Penske and said, hey, can I change the drop-off location? How much would that be? They said it's within a 150-mile radius. They moved it for free. So I was able to get the discounted price as if I dropped it off in Georgia, but I got the drop-off in Charlotte. So there's a couple of tricks and tips here that you guys can use. Always negotiate. Always call these companies because their prices are extremely flexible from what they show online.
You can't even make this shit up. I left this ladder in here overnight, and the plumbers came in this morning. And now I can't get my ladder out.
Oh my gosh. Oh. I think we saw this video. 675. Not locking. Installing a door in the
Stairway
deck
handrail.
work.
Everything looks good. It's secured. Whoops. Somebody forgot to install a bracket.
Inflow receptacle on the second story is
Nice.
loose.
Fire hazard.
There's one more. I guarantee this one's loose too.
Partially loose.
It is. Bathroom sink.
No water.
No water on the cold side. No water on the hot side. Both valves are on. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Yeah, where's the water
I mean,
going?
if I notice it, you think the homeowner's going to notice? I think so. Disposal switch is also loose. Here's the sink right next to the loose receptacle. The slip joint connection at the trap adapter is not seated. That is allowing water to leak to the floor's balcony GFCI receptacle. Is loose at the wall. Shower enclosure tiles are not sealed. That's about
Mold.
a 4-inch area of missing silicone. Here's how they tried sealing the trim boards in the bathroom. Look good up there. Not so much down here. Kitchen, checking receptacles to make sure they're GFCI protected. This is for the refrigerator. That does not appear to be. I will need to go to the panel and double check. Here's kitchen backsplash. That doesn't appear to be either.
So guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. It's still so weird getting back into things here, but I'm definitely settled in. As you can see, the background is nearly identical. I tried to copy it. Now, window's different here. The lighting's a little iffy, but we're getting everything situated here. It's a much nicer area, I think, than where I was in Florida, but that's pretty much going to be today's episode. Let me know what your thoughts are on new home ownership. Let me know your thoughts on the Charlotte, South Charlotte area, places to visit, restaurants, things to see, things to try, stuff like that. Maybe other, towns and cities I should go look at when it comes to purchasing a home. But with that being said, smash that like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe. And if you haven't seen the previous New Construction Homes Are Horrible episode, definitely make sure to check it out right after this. Peace.